In this video, we're going to be looking at how to use some of the resources that you've been provided for the modeling natural selection activity, namely the Padlet, and then how to determine if a mouse lives or dies, as well as record the phenotype and genotype in the two data tables, which are kind of mentioned in the first three steps of these directions here. So just jumping right into it, your Padlet will look something similar to this. There's going to be 100 allele cards over here forming up the gene pool, the collection of all of the alleles in a population. And considering each mouse will get 2 alleles, it makes sense then that there should be 50 mice at the conclusion of generation 1 for both data table 1 and 2. In data table 3, it's already been provided for you. In that Padlet, there's going to be 50 cards with the dominant allele and 50 cards with the recessive allele. So the frequency's already been calculated for you. Once you get into generation 2, 3, 4, and 5, due to predation, some of these alleles will be removed from the population and these frequencies will change. So we're going to look at how to really kind of use that Padlet and record your phenotypes and genotypes in this video. So if you do not have a die, you are welcome to Google a dice roller, which is exactly what I did. And you can click on roll and it will determine a number for you. Recall that the environment is brown and sandy, which gives the brown mice an advantage in terms of survival. So the brown mouse is only going to die if a 1 is rolled, and a white mouse, because it will not blend in so well with its environment, it's going to live only if a 1 is rolled. So let's demonstrate how to do this. To start with, you really kind of want to do this randomly. Don't just pick and choose letters. Your data is going to be thrown off. Just kind of close your eyes, randomly drag your mice over or your mouse over and create mice. So I created a heterozygous individual here. So going back to my data table here, the phenotype I know is brown because brown is dominant, and the genotype would be heterozygous. I'm just using ones because I cannot really use tallies. Tallies would be very easy to add together. Ones, not so bad either. Now that I've determined the brown fur and the genotype, I need to determine if this mouse will live or die. Once again, it is brown, so if I roll a 1, it will die. But I rolled a 3, so it survives. Now, since this mouse survives, I need to move these alleles off to the side over here, since these alleles will be going into the second generation. So I'm just going to randomly move them over. Don't stack them up. Don't make them nice and neat. Just randomly move them over. Now, since we're done with that, we're ready for the second mouse. So, big B or a little b. Looks like I have a white-furred mouse, homozygous recessive. If I roll a 1, this mouse lives. I rolled a 2, so the white mouse will die. And this is really going to be where you have to spend your time really kind of focusing and not getting distracted is on the mouse lives or dies, because if it dies, it's kind of a permanent mistake. And that's going to create some issues moving down the line. So since this mouse died, these 2 alleles will not be going over here because these 2 alleles will not be going to the second generation. This mouse died. It cannot pass either allele off to children because it has died. Can't have kids if you're dead. So I am just going to remove these from the board entirely and delete them. Now that I've gotten rid of that mouse, I'm ready to create my next one. Another heterozygous individual. Again, I'm going to continue my tally-esque recording of data. And I need to determine if this brown mouse lives or dies. It will only die if I roll a 1. I rolled a 6, so it survives. So since these alleles survive to generation 2, slide them off to the side. Next 2 cards. Another heterozygous, which will be brown. Live or die. it lives. So drag those alleles off to the side. Next card. And you're going to continue in suit doing this until you have run out of cards off on this side. When there are no more cards over here, you should have tallies in here that add up to 50. So right now, 3 plus 1 is 4. I guess that last mouse is 5. I've done 5 mice so far. Let's see if that one lives or dies. And it dies because it's white, and we need a 1 for the white mouse to live. So I will delete. And I will delete. Okay. You would continue in suit again until all these are used. You'll have some over here that survive. You'll have deleted some that have died. But once you have gotten all the cards over here, you are done with generation 1, and you'll be ready for generation 2. So I'd encourage you to take a moment, do that, and then you can check out the follow-up video to this one, which will show you how to proceed into generation 2, as well as how to calculate or, really just do simply the phenotypic and genotypic ratios.